Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. This is Dan coming to you barely alive from Japan. And of course, to my stage left and stage right, I have none other than Alex Chepurnoy, the one that made it all possible for us.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. My pleasure to be here again with you guys in 2024.
And, well, great to see you, Alex. And, of course, we have QX here broadcasting live from some storage room somewhere on a college campus.
Happy New Year, everybody. Glad to be here. Glad to be here with you, Dan, and, of course, you, Alex.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's quite awesome that we have changing team here.
Yeah, everybody's on camera today. Everybody's on camera today. I think it's like a new record. We got all three on camera. The elusive Alex is on camera.
Yeah, so rules are also changing all the time, along with the team.
Yeah. And what happened to the white headphones? Do you still have the white headphones, or is this like an upgrade?
Today I'm on a headphones mic. So next time we'll try maybe this Shure mic again. But anyway, you guys will see it soon for more than 1 hour because the Ergo Summit is coming. So
yes.
It's announced and it will start on January 15th. And it will be 2 videos of mine with video and that Shure mic, which will appear in AMAs later also sometimes. Yes.
Are you allowed to tell them what videos you're doing, Christy? For the summit?
Yeah, so one video is about Ergo Hack's sidechain project. And another is, about some thoughts on, tokenomics, let's say. So it's called Ergo and Future of Finance. And, basically monetary experiments we already have can be quite useful for helping with what's in mind since day one. So empowering grassroots-based financial innovations and reworking. Let's say financial industry in many places, especially when there is extreme need for that. We're still most people are unbanked, and instead of banking, they're unbanked. So we have something different in mind, right? Which is what Ergo Manifesto is about, and so on. Some concrete thoughts on some particular aspects in regards with tokenomics. For the native token and some custom tokens, some experiments going on, and so on. 2 videos, more than 1 hour. Maybe too much of me.
Nice. No, not
I
at
don't think
all.
so.
Not at all. With QX, I'd say yes, but not you, Alex.
10 minutes is too much with me, Dan, right?
Exactly. All right. So what's been going on in the new year? I know we were only a few days into the new year, but from my side and my team has been focusing mostly on Rosen, and more specifically on Fund 11, the Fund 11 proposal for Rosen, which will basically allow Rosen to now indulge in bridging with Ethereum and the EVM ecosystem. And so this is actually going to be another huge leap for Rosen, I believe. It's going to bring enormous traffic, I think, between Ethereum, Cardano, and Ergo. And of course, the security and everything is still on Ergo. So, Ergo benefits regardless. So this is going to be a big one as well. In fact, it might even be bigger than, it might be bigger than QX's electric bill. That's why his lights keep getting shut off. Definitely big for the ecosystem, I think, because just like with Cardano and with Cardano, it's been an outstanding success up until now, even with the little tweaks that we had to do to the architecture to support things, to basically, and expand on the amount of watchers, to make things more streamlined. The EVM bridge is going to be super exciting, I think. So I'm really looking forward to that, and that's essentially what we've been concentrating on. I am getting back to speaking with exchanges this week, so that should progress in the next couple of weeks, and I should have more information for you on that. And also, I will do a video for the Ergo Summit on banking and RWAs and all the fun stuff that we're actually doing in emerging economies with the help of Ergo, which is it's really enjoyable because it's so Ergo manifesto, it's so Ergo mission to do these things, and so it's just really exciting to be able to utilize the technology in this way. So that's mainly what we've been focusing on, what I've been focusing on, what the Zengate team has been focusing on this week. Okay, so let's maybe move over to QX. What have the SIGs been up to?
Hey,
except
thanks,
for
Dan.
besides all the drinking and the partying, and
That's what we can do as community members, right? We don't have anybody to be accountable to, so we can just have fun. That's the advantage. There's no boss.
You're accountable to Father Time. You're accountable to Father Time.
That is true. That is true. So we are diving right back into this year. We had a meeting last week, and we gave ourselves a holiday off for the holiday weekend, the 24th, I believe it was, which was nice not to have a meeting and be able to relax with some family. But we're digging back in. I'm trying to focus directly on two things in the immediate. The first thing is the SIGs mining pool. We're going to get back on the horn to try to get that code pushed so that we can get storage rent pulled out of mining pools, give some extra incentive to show that proof of concept, have it running, and then hopefully other mining pools will pick up Cheese's code that he has in public repository and use it, which will be great. Then also we have about 3 or 4 nodes running on the difficulty adjustment group that we're testing out. MGPy has spun up essentially a test net that dupes the parameters of mainnet specifically. And I tasked myself this week with pointing a mining rig to my instance. So I got to put Stratum on top of my node, and I will point a mining rig to it. And then we're going to start playing with, first of all, we're going to try to simulate the current, 2 to 5 hash that comes off at every difficulty block. We're going to try to simulate that. And once we simulate that and we feel that it's responding similar to mainnet, then we're going to start tweaking a little bit, seeing what we can do to alleviate that or change it, or what the possibilities are. We're trying not to go with any preconceived notions. We're just trying to see what happens when we poke it a little bit, essentially. So that's a fun group. There's a handful of us in there. It's a difficulty adjustment group, DAG, maybe? I don't know what it's called. But if anybody wants to join in, even if you don't want to run a node, but just be there to talk and pop things off of as we do things, hopefully we can get that into more swing as well. Thirdly, I promised to point the Ergo Foundation, not the Ergo Foundation, the Ergo platform and the Sigmanauts Twitter to Erg1 and start promoting Erg1 with the Erg1 token that they use, and for promoting Ergo hashtags on Twitter. I think that's a very good foundation that they have set up with ranking systems and all that. And we've asked them to tweak their front page a little bit for more understanding. They've done that. So ball's in our court at this point to start utilizing that and utilizing that as an avenue for people to start, talking about Erg and get rewarded for it on Twitter. We are also, as a Sigmanauts, of course, I say every time I'm here, running a guard along with you guys, Dan, and that's going really well. It's really fun to see in the back end there, see how everything works. It's really a marvel to realize that so many separate parts can come together and make this thing work. It's absolutely amazing to see. So that's on our plate. There's also some talks about spending some treasury money from there and how to do it, as well as potentially helping out with pushing listings forward. But that's still in the early stages. Nothing to really talk about there as far as that goes. How about you, Kushti?
Bueller?
Yeah, sorry. It. These days dance, not like holidays maybe even. Rosen launch not without dramas, but it seems finally bridges are working normally. There is some liquidity flowing from one chain to another. Summit is coming, so there will be actually many videos about Zen or something like that. So stay tuned. Then we had developers chat on Subblock and related matters yesterday. My participation was not that great, but it was chat overall. So I'm going to update AAP based on feedback, and then we can have maybe the rounds in weeks. Then what else? There was also developers chat today, and outside of that, I see many updates which are not there in the developers chat. So I will maybe push people to publish updates regularly there. So many projects, as I see now, posting in their own channels. Projects like GoPSwap, Leon, HODLcoin, and so on. Then for chain cash, first chain cash implementation proposal was published, and I'm going to finalize it in coming days. And then there will be regular updates provided in developers. Soysor is already doing that. A lot of things going on regardless holidays. It was a great date from Paideia, by the way, yesterday. So I guess pretty nice weekend dev update video. So stay tuned.
Excellent. All right, let's get to some questions.
Speaking of Paideia, I'll call him out on video here so he can't back up his promise. Louis promised us that he'd spin up a small thing for Sigmanauts after he gets some more stability in there. So we're looking to see hopefully an instance for Sigmanauts on the beta that we can start testing out on Padilla.
All right, so there will be 6 DAO then.
You got it, Kushti.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And probably the first custom DAO, right? After the testing.
After Padilla. Yeah, right. We can put the only trick is we have to what's it called? We have to organize enough to get the treasury passed off into there and get the multi-sig signed.
All right. Good.
All right. So let's get to some questions and all right. Okay, well, here's a good one to start with. So, Kushti, could you give us a quick breakdown of chain cash?
Oh, so I did that a couple of times during MAs already, and well, actually, thinking to record a new video, maybe this month even, so it will be published just as a single video, so not a part of any virtual event like Ergo Summit. But yeah, so in short, it's peer-to-peer system of the freest banking, let's say, right? So there. In Chain Cash network, so everyone can issue notes which could be backed by some reserves, some collateral, currently only Ergo supported, but in future custom tokens will be supported as well. But well, it's not even necessary. It can be also about purely trust-based notes being issued. And then it's up to network participants, what kind of notes do they accept. So there is support in Chain Cash server already for whitelist, blacklist options for collateralization ratio. And then there is a single unit of account for the notes, which is a milligram of gold. Individual rules of acceptance, and then it can be considered as a flexible system of money issuance in peer-to-peer network with possible backing with Erg. Other assets like CQSD, right, bridged assets, and tokenized commodities, real-world commodities as well. That's in short. And it could be compared with so-called free banking system, right, which was historically quite popular from Silk Road to Scotland, for example, Canada, the US before 1913, and so on. But now, everyone can be on bank. So it's kind of not even free, but free is kind of fractional reserve. So yeah, it's similar to so-called fractional reserve free banking system in some regards, but it's even more free. So it's kind of the most free, the freest banking system, peer-to-peer system.
Hey, Kushti, speaking of that Chain Cash, I imagine that's going to come out without not very user friendly at first, at least for, non-devs to be able to utilize and work with. So that reminded me of the loans you're doing with Excel. Is there any talk or any plans to develop that further so that it can be a little more accessible, those Excel loans, those collateral-free loans, as opposed to what you're doing? You put one up, you do a raffle, and then you submit it to the company that does it over there through that. Any thoughts of that becoming a more full accessible to us plebes?
Yeah, so currently we are thinking about doing implementing some critically needed functionalities, right, and start to play with it and understand what could be a good API in the first place, and then UI about. So, then chain cache server maybe will be just kind of server with API, right? And then some front-end software like wallets can be built on top of it. But yeah, for starters, it would be good just to play with it for a group of hackers and understand what could be a good UI for it even. So that's the thing to think about still.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So let's see. Let's get into another question here. Oh, well, I mean, this is kind of a general question, but, it's always good to answer these as well. So the question is, for QX, what are your thoughts on Rosen Bridge? And actually, there's a follow-up I think it would be really nice for us all to answer after that.
Oh, me specifically. Who asked that? Oh, Wombo. Nice Wombo. So I observed something really cool with Rosen Bridge, and I can talk about this because I'm not being paid by anybody. There were some people that came over to Ergo and saw things like Comet, things like Greasy Sex, things like Pepperg, and those kind of things. And it really set it in perspective for me about how I don't want to say early because that seems like a promotional kind of thing, but from the social aspect of those meme projects and tokens, those things that really help bolster a community beyond the amazing security and amazing tech. Just seeing that kind of difference that small amount of liquidity that's coming into it makes to those communities, absolutely insane. So my thought is when we, branch out to ETH, BNB, Dogecoin, all of those kind of things, the effect on Ergo is going to be, insane when it comes to that. People are going to come over. They're going to wonder what to do. They're going to see these very well-established projects, not only like SigmaFi or Sigma-O options or those kind of things, but they're also going to see the fun degen things like HODLcoin, like Auction Coin, like Greasy Sex, like Comet, all those kind of things. And it's gonna make quite a big impact, I think, and be a little shocking if it's any precursor to what, or any indication to what just those 217 transactions have done so far over the bridge to us. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't expect that. I thought people would come over, maybe try like some serious things like SigmaFi, put up some Rosen or some RS ADA loans. I didn't expect people to come in and ape into things like Comet and Greasy Sex. That was definitely, oh wow, that's happening, I guess, kind of thing. So it was fun to watch. And I did a tweet about it the other day too, about Rosen's taking Comet and Hosky tokens as part of their first, the next set of tokens that they're going to bridge, which I think is neat. I mean, this is crypto, as Joe would say, it's crypto, baby. It's part of the culture. We have these projects that don't do shit. They just have a dog token what was it? That's we just saw the other day. There's a token on Sol that's named after the creators, or Solana that's named after the creators, and all of a sudden that mooned yesterday for no fucking reason. Absolutely crazy. So I feel on Ergo at least some meme tokens that I'm socially following have some sort of substance, like Comet. They're silly, but they actually built a lottery, and they're actually building a system with airdrops and rewards, and they're sharing their watcher revenue, for God's sakes. I mean, that's freaking amazing. Look at Greasy Sex. They raised 4,000 or 5,000 ergs to help fund a listing, and they still have some in the bank to help with the next one. And they're putting out some amazing quality NFTs helped out with Cyberverse artists. I mean, it's really cool. So the hope is that when people come over from Rosen, not just the amazing tools like I said, Sigmafy, Sigma-O, they'll also see that we have some social meme projects that have some teeth, they have some substance, and they're really fun to interact with. And so that was kind of my surprise, and it was a pleasant surprise to see that engagement, as well as to think, holy shit, in a couple more chains from now, when Rosen connects, this is going to be pretty serious as far as that goes.
Yeah. Actually, there's a nice, it can be seen as a follow-up question, I think, from Wendy Moon. So Rosen Bridge should bring a lot of attention to Ergo, but do you think users of other chains fully understand what it means that this thing was built on Ergo? For example, why not build it on Cardano? Well, because it's built on Ergo. It's an Ergo project. I mean, it made more sense to build it on Ergo because of various things, including it being an Ergo project. Different security assumptions, slightly different architecture. Well, not slightly, but different architecture in some ways.
Proof of work compared to proof of stake.
Right? Different consensus protocols. I mean, it's kind of what's the difference between, I guess, spaceships and ICBMs. I mean, both can go into space, but they do different things. I'm not saying that one or the other is a weapon of mass destruction, but these two things are definitely different. So that's one thing. So, this is built on Ergo, obviously, but do we think that users of other chains fully understand what it means that this thing was built on Ergo? Some will, some won't, and we have to really get used to that. With Cardano, we have a lot more engagement into the Ergo ecosystem and understanding of the Ergo tech, because Cardano and Ergo are very symbiotic and community-wise, and of course, we have a lot of Cardano, Ergonauts in the Cardano community, and vice versa. With other chains, I think that it's not going to be as important to them. Well, not everybody, of course, but many were not really going to care that it's built on Ergo, but how it's built, right? So, for example, where can the compromise? Where can the exploitation happen? For example, security exploits. How is the architecture secure as far as infrastructure goes? As far as, okay, so how does infrastructure set up so that it's secure? What makes it secure? Why do transactions take longer on this than they do on other chains? So these things will matter. So it's more about the utility and it's more about the security assumptions, I think, for other chains that are not familiar with Ergo or will not be familiar with Ergo to such extent as the Cardano ecosystem is. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. Bottom line here is reputation and security and architecture. I think that by the time we get to those chains, we're going to have many proved successes that we can point to. With Rosen, we can show, the transaction streamlining. We can show the security that comes with using Rosen. And I think that's what's going to matter. Because the bottom line here is a security, I think, even more than speed. Because I don't really think anybody really made a big deal about their transactions taking a few hours instead of taking a few minutes or a few seconds. Because, aside from arbitrage, really, that sacrifice is very much a viable sacrifice, right? So you sacrifice speed for security, because the exploits that have happened in the past have been security exploits, right? They haven't been something like, this bridge wasn't fast enough, so the system broke down. This bridge wasn't fast enough, so this DeFi protocol didn't work. It's like, no, the bridge was exploited, security was exploited, and that's why the protocol broke down, or that's why this DeFi didn't work. The DeFi platform didn't work. So I think it's pretty clear so far what are the main concerns and what are the main points that take priority. So that's my thoughts. What do you think, Alex?
You're muted, bud.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. So there were some hacks successfully done just before there were not many keys, just like a couple of keys. Enough, right? It was enough to compromise a couple of keys to drain a breach. But also a lot of security issues. So that's Solana wormhole breach. So on Solana side, it was hacked just before there was issue with multi-sig check function in standard library even. So there was a possibility for kind of re-entrance there. So in this regards, Ergo is indeed simpler and more secure. And also, multi-sig scheme even now is quite strong, right? So a lot of guards already. So I guess it's hard to get to enough keys for hackers. All right, and continuing QX answer for the previous question. So already there are some good new bonds on SigmaFi. So there was a bond created recently and still active, asking for 70K worth of USD in RS ADA with RSN token provided as collateral, like 100K USD of RSN tokens. That's just the beginning, right? So, liquidity pools, arbitrage possibilities, bonds, options, and so on. It's just on the Ergo side, and on Cardano side also there is utilization of Ergo, right? And also a lot of arbitrage possibilities. So there were some solid arbitrage possibilities in early hours.
That's crazy. That's 125,000 Rosen ADA for the loan. 1 million Rosen is collateral. That's $110,000 worth of Rosen for collateral for a $72,000 US dollar Rosen ADA, Rosen 8 alone. That's the biggest we've ever seen, right? And that brings a TVL up to almost $500,000 for Signify. So $500,000 of TVL on Signify. Amazing.
Yeah, and that's just the beginning. And so, a lot of arbitrage possibilities. So also, a lot of possibilities to buy Ergo, right? At least for Cardano holders. Right, and with DEXs, right? So it's possible now to obtain some ERCs without leaving Cardano DEX, even, right? Without going to centralized exchanges, as well. There are a lot of claims, a lot of complaints about centralized exchanges. Right, and the policies and so on. That's good. But also, now it's possible also to get and to use CQSD, for example, right, on Cardano, which is also interesting. So then, there could be competition between CQSD and JET, and more possibilities for liquidity providers, right, for providing liquidity without risk of impermanent loss on stable swap, similar kinds of liquidity pools. And the same for Ergo, right? So, Spectrum, for example, can finally launch stable swap pools for JET to CQSD. And I don't know Cardano ecosystem so well. Maybe so. Do they have more kinds of USD?
I think they have a wrapped one from that bridge that's there now, right?
Yeah. There's wrap. There's also so there's one that's coming out. It's USDM.
Mehen, yeah. Is it launched? Not yet.
It's. I think they're about to launch it. I'm not sure. I think they might have launched a testnet. I'm not sure though, but I think they're on the cusp of deployment right now, and that one is going to be a really good one.
All right, so then, we can imagine JET to CQSD, USDM to CQSD, pulls on Spectrum, right? Similar pulls on Cardano DEXs. Then it's kind of chain reaction, so more utilization of CQSD also means growing TVL of the CQSD bank, right? So, better utilization of CRSV and so on. Also more options for on-ramp, right? So to get ERC, for example, without using centralized exchanges, right? So, a lot of cool things can be done right now. And, with more bridges to come, even more cool things.
And I don't think, speaking of Rosen Bridge, I don't think people realize, in the grand scheme of things, every branch out. I know.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning and you see.
I was looking at the same. I think you're looking exactly at what I've been looking at. Yeah. Let's bring it to the screen here. Yeah. So the Rosen, the catalyst proposal appears to be ADA to ETH and nothing with ERG other than the backbone. Will the team add ERG bridge pairs automatically? It's always ERG. Like, it's always Ergo. Ergo doesn't go away. The bridge is on Ergo. It's not just the backbone. There's always Ergo in the mix. So it's just you can do whatever you want with it. It doesn't. None of the ecosystem bridging ever cuts out Ergo in this in this particular setup. Yeah, what you were saying, QX?
Yeah, I was saying that was what I was reading exactly. But it's funny. I woke up the next day after Rosen Bridge launched, and there was this article. You know how you make a new tab on your mobile in Chrome, and it gives you what you've been searching for. It feeds you with custom news articles, and boom, I was hit with an article that said Cardano bridges out, and I was like, oh my goodness gracious. And so there was a very small, there were mentions of Ergo, but it wasn't quite, a title was more catchy, I think, just to catch Cardano users, but it was funny. But I think people forget that every chain that Rosen branches to is people buying, collecting and locking Erg, collecting and locking a lot of Rosen for permits. So you have that. You also have watchers. There's 77 watchers now on our chain, 77 on Cardano. You know, maybe by the time ETH and BNB come along, that watcher set capability will expand greatly. So we may have 100 to 200 watchers on all these chains. These guys are banging transactions on Ergo all the time for everything that comes across. So there's an increased transaction layer right there that's happening because of the bridge on Ergo. And my thought is, at least the way that I justify this, is that Ergo is going to be so positioned in a spot of being the secure bridge, the secure layer that supports the secure bridge, that people are going to come here to do these kind of transactions that you might not want to do on Solana or something. They're going to utilize SigmaFi to take out loans. Maybe they'll take it off chain after they do that, but the point is they'll do it here on chain for that security-based layer that other chains aren't going to offer. So I think, yeah, first, when you see those Cardano headlines, which is fine, you know, whatever, it's going to happen. But, you know, in the end, Ergo will come through as what it's meant to be seen as, and that's an amazing, secure blockchain that has very clear assumptions.
Yeah, well, crypto media is awesome. You know, a little over a year ago, when we did the launch in Sri Lanka. I looked through the internet, the interwebs. And so one of the first articles that popped up was Cardano launches an NFT for Sri Lankan tea factory. Will this take $8 to $7?
It's like they don't even try, Dan. It's crazy.
No, it's like ChatGPT. Create a title for me that has to do with NFTs, Cardano tea factories in Sri Lanka, and a price prediction. Like that. That's literally what this is.
But why 7, not 70?
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, 70 or 700 is too, way more catchy, right?
70 million. All right, let's get to another question here. Let's see. All right. Gush, the ETA for Subblocks.
2 weeks.
You're not Kushti.
I've played Budget Kushti before, Dan.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Was off. It depends. On the spec, which is still under considerations, and there are ongoing discussions around it. So it could be even 2 weeks, right, with some minimal version. But the question is what is needed exactly. What's we are discussing, right, is to have some backbone for confirmations. There are some even weak but kind of guarantees or promises about no double spends done from one subblock to another, right? And for that, there is a need for some incentivization or enforcement scheme. And then actually, it could be done, Subblocks deployment in a way that first some side chains utilizing Subblocks, so Subblock based merged mine side chains. See Ergo Summit videos for some details, but yeah, for Subblocks, probably another writing is needed. Subblock based merged mine side chains. Maybe it makes sense to first deploy some side chains, and then with enough incentives. So all those side chains will enforce linearity, right? So no double spends. Property for all subblocks to be accepted, right? So this property needs to be held. After that, there could be some confirmations, subblock-based API, right, for applications using layer 1. It's about many steps, right? Maybe with some delay between them to see deployment results and consider next step based on feedback. It's hard to find. It's hard to talk about ethos, right? Concrete ethos, because it's about a lot of things after all. For those side chains, there is need to find some applications which can be attractive, right, to users, and so bring some profit to miners, which will incentivize them to avoid double spends in subblocks, right? And then to use that to have faster confirmations for layer 1 based DApps. It's actually a pretty long story, but also about quite big ecosystem after all, right? So then, about concrete, it's hard to say. There are possibilities to make things in a more breaking way and more dirty, in my opinion, by enforcing things in layer 1 consensus. It could be
Would you be worried about the security risks there of modifying layer 1 to do that, Christy? Is that what you're saying?
The current proposal is not touching consensus at all, right? So miners can add subblocks data to block headers, right? So then there could be just one pool or few pools supporting subblocks, right? And then it's basically then kind of crypto economic protocol, right? Quite orthogonal to the layer 1 consensus, right? So it's living outside which is quite nice. But yeah, then a lot of crypto economic questions, right, about it. So what's kind of incentivization there? Will profits be enough for miners to jump on, and so on? So still, I don't know how many pools supporting storage rent. Maybe just 6-1, right? So, by the way, how's it going for the 6 pool?
I gave Cheese a break. I haven't bugged him in a couple of weeks because it's a holiday. It's we're gonna get right back on him and try to get that code. I think he said he was pretty much done. He had it tested on testnet, and he was gonna move it to mainnet at some point. But that was right before break. So we're gonna get right back at it and hopefully get this up.
All right, and then maybe pool can be the first pool to support subblocks, right? And then allow miners to profit from subblocks. By sidechains would be pretty strange, right? Because sidechain then can enjoy subblocks, maybe not often, right? But for testing, it's still quite good. But some time is needed for all the pools to realize that there is some additional reward scheme there, right? And so to implement support. I believe that will happen with storage rent as well, especially with emission being reduced.
What are the implications? Do you have a guess or an estimate or some idea in your head of what the implications on node size and node storage will be once subblocks come across? Are we going to see an increase in storage needs for the node?
No, I guess it would be the same. So I'm thinking about storage requirements for sub-block based sidechains. But usually there is no need to worry about sidechains, right, and the requirements, because they are not so long-living entities, right? So for a blockchain, you need to consider security in regards with storage requirements as well for decades, right? Maybe centuries even. But for sidechains, that's not the case. So it could be a pretty short-living story in comparison with the main chain, right? And for the main chain, it would be more or less the same, because subblocks. So it's a subblock is a short-living entity, right? So historical subblocks can be pruned almost immediately, right? So no additional storage there needed. Still there are a lot of discussions. So it could be deployed in a slow way, but non-breaking, right, outside of the core protocol and so on. Can be done as usually done in most of cryptocurrencies and blockchains today. So just enforce support in the core protocol, but then a lot of questions, right? So about security of layer 1, right? That's why I'm not fond of breaking anything there, or adding new rules and so on. But yeah, that's kind of a quick, dirty, hype-ish, buzzwords friendly way to do, which is used in most of the blockchains. Yeah, well, let's see.
That's great. That was helpful. Thanks,
how it
Christian.
goes.
All right. Well, I think I think this is a good time to wrap it up for this week. And of course, we got so much exciting stuff happening that I'm sure that we're going to have even more fun stuff to tell you about next week. And of course, the Rosen adventure continues. We have the Ergo Summit coming up. Alex is going to make a video. I'm going to make a video. QX is going to be caught on video doing something.
I'm sure.
Weird. Yeah.
Let me bring up real quick before I forget. I meant to do this during the Rosen talk. For people from Cardano said that are watching, some people are coming over to Ergo. They're taking their ADA and they're sending it through the bridge, and it's coming out as Rosen ADA on Ergo. They don't have enough ERG in their wallet to interact with the DEX, of course. So Ergo has something called Babel fees. So if you want to send something to somebody or there are DApps that support it, you can actually pay. I made a Babel box for all of you. So you can actually pay a Nautilus wallet with that Babel fee if you're going to transfer to somebody else. But to interact with the DEX, you need ERGs. The way around that is, remember, you're going to unwrap once at least. So if you're on the Cardano side with ADA, just switch to Rosen Erg on the Cardano side, bring the Rosen Erg across, and it turns right into Erg, and you're ready to go. So you don't have to unwrap on the Ergo side. You can grab a wrap and unwrap it through the bridge, and it shows up as Erg on the other side. So there are ways to do that. In the guard set, I started a thread specifically to say, hey, can we tack on, a 50-cent charge on the Rosen Bridge so that they end up with a little ERG in their wallet when they come across without any ERG kind of thing. So that's in discussion about how to do that. I know Comet is using Flying Pig's airdrop tool to monitor people coming across and giving them 1,000 Comet as they come across. So something like that could be done as well without changing the core protocol of the bridge or the security assumption. So we're talking about that, but in the meantime, you can just swap the Rosen ERG on ADA Cardano and bring it right across to ERG and not have to worry about that.
Oh yeah, as a possible option, Spectrum can add Babel fees support as well.
That'd be amazing. I don't want to go too far, Kishti. That's asking a lot of Gaza on the team there.
But they probably are already supporting SPF, right?
I think you can pay the fee in SPF, but not the transaction fee. Correct. You can pay the bridge, the DEX fee in SPF.
I see. So, but yeah, well, they can do Babel fees for transaction fee as well. And by the way, is Babel fee supported in Cardano wallets? Because, well,
Is it implemented yet?
I believe.
I don't think so. I don't think Cardano has launched Babel fees yet. I think the core protocol is capable of it, but I'm not sure if it actually launched yet or not. I don't think it did.
Oh, but is anything needed on the core protocol level?
I'm not sure.
No, not just wallets. All right.
But anyway, I know that it's that it's in the works, but I don't think it actually launched yet. Anywho, all right. Well, I think it's a good time to wrap it up. All right. Well, so everybody, thanks for joining us this week. And of course, next week, same time, same channel. Hopefully, sooner or later, we're going to have daylight savings time change this to a more sane time for me because we don't have daylight savings time in Asia. So it just jumped an hour later for me, but I love you guys. So I will sacrifice my sleep and sanity to be here. And of course, Alex has done that as well to be with me and QX. And so thanks for joining, Alex. Great to have you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your questions.
And well, I guess thanks for joining QX. I guess
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for not paying your electric bill, so you look like a.
This is Cornell not paying their electric bill.
Yeah, right.
We got to get on them.
Just your cornhole university is always the villain. Anyway,
it's been a pleasure.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks a lot for joining, and we will see you next week. So long.
Ciao.